Afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Michael Jr. B. Pakal, and I am going to I'm going to explain my understanding from chapter 1 to chapter 3 in discourse analysis. Okay, so let's start. So, in chapter 1, basically, we talk about what is discourse analysis. But what is discourse alone? Discourse refers to the language used in real communication situation, or whether spoken or written. So it focuses not only on words and sentences but also on how things is created through the context and interaction. Now, when we say discourse analysis, kapag isa na siya, okay, so in discourse analysis is the study of how language works in society. So, and communication, and examines how people use language to express their ideas, build relationships, and create meaning, more so and so forth. Now, in the discourse analysis chapter 1, we also should not na kalimutan natin yung text and context, because text cannot be fully understood without the context, because context is within the situation. Nandoon siya. Okay? Now, let me think. In chapter 1 also, we discussed the speech acts. So, speech acts are actions performed when parang we are using the language itself to request, to apologize, or to promise something. So, parang ginagamit natin yung language according sa speech acts. Okay. Next, we have the we have also sa different views of discourse analysis. So, we have one, the genre. Genre that refers to different types of the text that follow specific patterns for purposes. Meron tayong mga articles, conversation, reports, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, in we have also the discourse communities, but this is a part of the chapter 2, which is nag-share ng common goals. The group of people share the same goals, values, and within the community. But next, we have the social and cultural view of discourse. So, in discourse analysis also studies the language is connected to the society and culture. So, the meaning, yung language or yung lengguwahe is nakadugtong siya sa paniniwala ng tao, identities, and social connection to each other. Okay? And also the communities. Now, we have the difference between the spoken and written discourse. So, when we say spoken, this is spontaneous, unorganized, and interactive. When we say written discourse, this is organized, structured, and you have time to prepare, because this is a written discourse, and you can make your own information more accurate, concise, or concrete. Okay, so that is the difference. That is the difference in language use. Okay. Now, so yun lang ang important key points that we need to remember in chapter 1. Now, I'm going to talk about the chapter 2. So, here, yung sinabi ko kanina, yung discourse communities. The discourse communities share the same goals. Group of people who shares the same goals, values, and belief within the community. So, speech act, meaning we are utilizing the language to speak. In terms of the language, we have the British, French, Chabacano, Filipino, as we Filipino. Parang we are using the language to communicate with other people. Okay. Excuse me. So, yeah. And also, we have the discourse and language choice, meaning how the people choose the language depending on the audience, purpose, and social institution. One of the example for this is when you are talking to your boss, then syempre magalang ka, the chosen language you utilize para kausapin yung boss mo more polite and formal. Pero what if naman kapag friends? So informal and more may humor yung conversation nyo, which is a choose yun yung ginamit mong choose language in interacting with peoples in the context within the community. So discourse, social class, and social network. So language can reflect social class, educational background, and occupation. So social network also influence communication because people adapt language based on the groups they interact with. So meaning the social class is the language also parang may kinalaman din yung social class on how the people are utilizing the language within the aspect of social class. Next, we have the discourse and gender. So, meaning communication styles may differ because of cultural expectation. Related to gender discourse analysis explains that these references are shaped more by society than by biology. So what do you mean by that? So the society is the real big impact for the gender, kung paano sila mag-communicate with other people, not by their biology. So that is discourse gender, which is we tackle last week, I thought. So next we have that, and if we have gender, we have also the sexuality and identity. When we say sexuality, this is the desire. It plays a role in shaping the attitudes, understanding about the sexuality, the way society focuses or discusses the sexuality can influence the stereotypes, identity, and social acceptance within the community. Okay. Now, since sinabi ko kanina na meron discourse identity, now let's proceed to discourse identity. So, people use language to express how they want to see themselves to others, kung paano nila gusto tignan ang sarili niya sa mata ng ibang tao, depending on the context. So depending on the context, audience, and interaction. Now, so we also have in chapter 2 the discourse and ideology. When we say ideology, this is the hidden meaning of the information. For example, you are telling or you are sharing the information to other people, and the other people kahit hindi buo yung information mo, as long as nasabi mo yun, and the hearer can now understand you, meaning that is discourse ideology, the hidden meaning na nalalaman within the conversation. Okay. So, I guess yun lang yung important key points to remember in chapter 1 and chapter 2. Now, let's proceed to chapter 3. Here we tackle during our class and discussion during the reports the pragmatics. So what is pragmatics? Pragmatics is the study of meaning in relation to context and communication. It focuses on how the listener interpret the message beyond the literal meaning of the words. Okay? So, next is the language, context, and discourse. So context plays an important role in understanding language. Language and discourse meaning changes depending on the situation, participants, culture, and purpose of the communication. So we have also here the speech acts and discourse. So in speech acts, parang actions performed through the language such as requesting and apologizing as what we discussed earlier. Okay, so people use parang ginagamit nila yung speech act use as achieve goals and manage social relationship during the communication or the conversation. Next is the cooperative principle and discourse. This was discussed by Jalaine during our class, and it was introduced by Grice. So we have 4 maxim. Yes, we need to remember the 4 maxim. We have the first, the maxim of quantity. So the maxim of quantity means getting enough information without giving too much or too little. Native communication depends providing the right amount of detail. So in maxim of communication, maxim of quantity, the maxim of quantity, parang you are just giving the enough information, no less or no more. Okay, when we say, and the second one is maxim of quality. The maxim of quality focuses on truthfulness, makatotohanan, and the accuracy. Next is the maxim of relation, meaning you are just answering what is needed sa based on the question. For example, if Sir EJ will ask us kung saan tayo pupunta, then the student will immediately say canteen. So that is a maxim of relation. Okay, next we have the maxim of manner. So there are 4 maxims, so you need to remember, we need to remember it pala. So quantity, quality, and relation, then manner. So maxim of manner means speaking clearly and avoiding confusing language. So messaging should be organized and arranged, brief. So that is a maxim of manner, and to be understandable. Next, if we have 4 maxim, we have also the flouting, the cooperative principle, which is the 4. So this happens when the speakers intentionally break conversational maxim to suggest hidden meanings, humor, or sarcasm. Then the listeners usually try to understand implied message behind the statement. Okay, so next, the last, third to the last is the cross-cultural pragmatics and discourse. When we say different culture have different communication styles and rules, so just like the Japan, so what is polite to you to other is not. Okay, maybe considered rude or unusual in another culture. So magkakaiba po tayo. Every country has different rules and regulation when in terms of the language used. Okay, next we have the conversational implicature and discourse. This was discussed by Fidelin, so during online class. So conversational implicature refers to the meanings that one implied rather directly stated. Listener used the context and share the understanding, interpret the speaker's intended meaning. So for example for this, when the speaker said na after niya manood ng watch, there is nothing interesting on the movie. So that is meaning there's nothing on the movie. The sentence should be there is nothing on the movie. So meaning nun is there is nothing interesting in the movie, not kung walang nangyari sa movie. Okay? Next is the politeness and face discourse. I think this is the last one we discussed during our class. Politeness refers to the strategies that people use to maintain respect and good relationship during communication or conversation. So face refers to a, what is this, to a person public self image or self or social dignities. Okay. And the last one, yeah, that is the last one, and that would be the brief explanation based what I have understood during our class and based from the module itself. So I am Michael Jr. B. Pakal, and thank you, sir, for listening to my Taglish explanation from chapter 1 to chapter 3, talking or discussing about the discourse analysis. So good afternoon, everyone, and that would be all. Thank you.